Hey, it's Camo with the Nashville Access Show presented by Solis North College Apartments, where taste matters. Cool show for you today. I've known this guy for a couple of years. We've mostly been friends on Facebook, but we met earlier this year, I think, or it was late last year, at Target. So we thought we'll get him into the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome James Cook. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you in town.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
All the way from Tejas.
From the Tejas, yes.
Yeah, you're in West Texas, aren't you?
Well, it's north. As north as you can get, like right before you hit.
That's right, too.
Right before you hit Oklahoma. So.
Wait, so that used to be. Oh no, Oklahoma used to be Texas. We have to remind people.
I'm having trouble getting comfortable here.
That's right. That's so we can keep you on your toes.
Yeah, that works. That works.
So you're in town for the Americana Music Association Festival.
Yes.
Americana Fest.
Americana Festival. It's been an unreal experience. A very humbling experience. You can see a lot of cool musicians out there. I mean, we start the first day with going to the award show.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a different thing. Instead of the award show being the culmination of everything, they get the award show out of the way so you can just go and have fun and learn stuff.
Yeah, it's a great experience. Last night was unreal to see some of my heroes. It was fun.
Yeah, and you're saying Elvis Costello.
Yeah, I couldn't even believe that I was looking at that when I kept reading. I was like, well, surely that's not real, that he's going to be there. And even when I saw him on stage, I still couldn't believe that. I can't believe that's Elvis Costello. And it was him, Jim Lauderdale, Buddy Miller on stage, and Don Was, and that kept tripping me out because just to see Don Was there, I was like, that looks just like Don Was. Is that Don Was?
Now, do you remember him from the artist days? Was Not Was?
That was the first thing I brought up. Was Not Was.
Yeah, and everybody around you goes, "What? What are you talking about?"
The dinosaur song. Yeah. But it was that. Bonnie Raitt was out there. It was just so many tremendous artists. John Prine. And there was someone else that I couldn't believe I was looking at. But then there was a lot of artists that I'd never heard of that I was so excited to see as well. And get to know just a lot of talent on stage.
That's the thing about the Americana genre of music. And I said to you, I was watching the news last night, and they had Bonnie Raitt and Maria Muldaur on. And they're saying the great thing about the Americana music genre is that you don't get too old and get kicked out like what happens in the CMAs. They want young and pretty, but the AMAs, it's all about the quality of the music. Yeah,
it's very much so. If you're still bringing up quality music, I'm assuming they'll let you in there because last night was proof of it. It was just a whole night of excellence. It was great.
Yeah, it's been a long time since you could look at the CMAs and say, wow, look at that band on stage.
Yeah, I think we were talking about other award shows where you kind of watch it and you're more into the name and what is that name going to do. Mm-hmm. But last night there was so many acts that I had no idea who they were, that I could not wait to discover more about them. And because it's pure talent whenever you're seeing it, and it's just blown away. And I think that is the appeal, it has to be the appeal, is that you're taking in the quality of the music as opposed to just some name. So,
yeah, and I think Americana has grown faster and bigger in the UK and Europe than it even has here where it started. It's just massive over there.
Yeah, I know that I've had conversations with some of the radio guys from over there, and it's so cool to see their enthusiasm. It's also cool to see their translations because they have to translate what they're saying to you. So whenever they're talking to you, your music pleases me. If they say things that it's like, oh, okay, that's great. Translation's weird, but that's great. Their enthusiasm toward the Americana scene, and also the because I do Texas music as well. So there's still a lot of it. They're looking in that direction, I guess, to Texas to see how they can intertwine both those styles. And that's what I'm trying to do as an artist that kind of goes back and forth.
Now you mentioned radio, and you're a radio guy as well.
Yeah, yes, I do radio work in Wichita Falls at 94.9 The Outlaw. Vintage radio, man.
That's the best. So you see it from both sides. You see it both as an artist and a radio guy. And do you ever have that radio voice inside your head as you're working as an artist that said, "Don't do that. It won't get accepted"?
Yeah, that's a hard. I've done it for years, so it's kind of hard to balance those because there's this like snob, in my head going like, "That's not cool music, man." But then you realize, you kind of have to think about the masses whenever you're doing radio. You're not really, of course you're wanting things that you kind of dig and that's how you relate to your listeners. But in the end, it's still about, what do the masses want to hear. With Texas music, the best thing about it is it hasn't really been touched. You get authentic music that comes in. There's not a corporate trying to tell you this is what you will be playing next. And I think because I'd lost my faith a little bit in radio right before I got that position, just because I'd worked in rock stations before, and there was definitely a voice saying, "You're going to play this tune, you're going to play this tune." And it gets to you after a while, and then so I ended up playing in the Texas music scene, or actually getting into the Texas music radio, and it opened up a lot of doors. I met a lot of people, and I ended up doing my own music after a while, so it's been a blast.
How much of what you play on the radio seeps into what you do as a songwriter and artist?
I would say with the Texas music, there was a lot of that. Because you spend 4 hours every morning listening to Texas music, it's gonna rub off on what you do. So it does a little bit. Some bands more than others, but yeah, it definitely has a push in what I'm doing. And I think that's something that you have to kind of worry about, is hearing a melody in your head and wondering, did I tape that? Is that someone else's melody? So I haven't had that happen to me yet, but I worry about that constantly.
Yeah, because my wife's a songwriter, and just because of what I do, a lot of people want to send me their newly written songs. Like, no, I don't want it. Yeah. I'm sure it's wonderful, but I don't need a phrase getting into my mind.
Yeah.
And then, my wife's writing say I need this, and I give them a line that I think is original, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a scary thing. You don't want to intellectual property. You don't want to steal someone's lyrics. But sometimes I'll come up with a line, and I'll look at it for days, and I'll Google the line just to make sure that's not somebody else's line. I've done that a few times.
That's a great songwriting tool, Google.
Yeah, just to make sure. This line is great. I'd hate to find out, like, you took that from Dylan, man. That's not...
Yeah, if you're gonna rip off somebody, you don't want to rip off Dylan.
Yeah, it was a great line 50 years ago.
Yeah,
whenever someone first wrote it.
So what else have you got planned for the festival?
We have a showcase. Well, we have a showcase that we're doing at Tennessee Brew Works.
Nice. I hear good things about that.
I'm excited to see the other bands that are going to be out there, because it's kind of a big lineup that day, and we're going to put on, the trio's going to be out there doing a set from 6 to 6:45, like to 7ish.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we're excited about that. We had a lot of fun last time we were in town and played that show. And we're back ready to do that show. This should be a good night of music.
Nice. So let's talk about your music. We talked about the generalities of what you do. Give people a sense of where you come from as an artist and the style of music you're doing.
It differs, I think, depending on the piece. Sometimes I write very personal lyrics that have to do either with my past or just some troubling times that are going on now. Other times I just come up with a story and kind of write a story. Just think of what I try to have a foundation for a story, so there's a little bit of a meaning behind it. But I do a lot of darker stories from my hometown. Because it's a way for me to deal with the darker side of my hometown, I think, a little bit. A lot of times I'd hear these stories and I'd be like, oh, not that, how could, I'm in that town, that kind of attitude. And then after a while, I would just start writing some of them. And you started listening to me on the first album, which was Lullaby for the Rapture.
Which that album blew me away. If you're looking for a really cool dark album, that's Americana, that one, Lullaby for the Rapture, is spectacular. It's like listening to a stripped down progressive rock album.
Thank you very much.
That's the way I heard it. Was, you know, aside from the instrumentation, if you started putting synth and big basses and, you know, complicated chord progressions in there, that's like Pink Floyd. That's where I saw it.
Wow, thank you very much. That's a great compliment. That was a full idea about the town because we were going through a drought. Texas was going through a horrible drought, and we hadn't seen rain in like 7 years. Yeah. All the lakes were dry. We were down, I think, to like 13% or something like that. The city's water. It got weird.
I remember somebody telling me about that in Austin, in the lake. They were saying cars were surfacing that had been stolen and ditched during the Reagan administration.
Yeah, and so our town, it seemed like, I don't know why, but everybody kept thinking it was the end of the world or something, or at least the people in the town, even though they were getting rain in other parts of the world. But so I kind of, it stuck with me, and I thought, well, what would it be like if a small town had to deal with the end of the world? And I came up with these characters, and that was a really good focused album. I think that's why I really enjoyed doing it, because it was a whole cohesive idea, and it worked together. All the songs went together, and it flowed well. And when I was coming up with because what I wanted to do was an EP, but I wanted to make it, you know, just be one big thing.
Right.
So I had to think about how the music was going to sound, and if it was going to be poppy here, is it going to, you know, be sad here, how's it going to end? And I would just make up I would think of these ideas of how to make the songs go the way I wanted them to. Most of the time I would just, I don't know, think of funny things. What would it be like if a guy decided to commit suicide instead of letting the world, and he wanted to end it on his terms? Another guy who's very excited about the end of the world because he's a poet, and he's excited to be a part of the end of the world. He gets to write it down, and he can't wait for it. So, and then in the end, it's a couple who want to make sure they see each other on the other side. And so I ended up doing a love song at the end about the end of the world. It was real fun. It was a fun album to work on, and we did that kind of like guerrilla style, where we'd go into a studio and we'd find some empty place in downtown Wichita Falls, and it'd make a nice little hall noise. Oh, we'll do the strings in here, and we'd have to hustle some people in there, and, you know, a couple hours. We only had a couple hours to get that done, and we'd get it done, and it was great. And we had a couple of phenomenal artists from Wichita Falls to help with that album. So
spectacular album, and I think what attracts me to it as well is the darkness of it, because I love dark stuff.
Yeah,
and it's a very black album.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, the end of the world happens at the end, so it's spoilers.
Yeah. So.
But I think that's why I really liked doing the album. It was hard because then we started playing live shows, and we'd have to play. We'd play livelier than the dark album. So people would come to shows and say, "Can I get your album?" We're like, "Yeah, it's dark, man. It's not like you just heard on stage." So the album that we just released, Tall Tales, or actually released back in December, or November, I'm sorry, was a lot more upbeat. It has some dark stuff in there, like Wake the Dead, and that's what I tell myself. But there was some other sides that I wanted to bring up, and some other vibes I wanted. I wanted to see how much we could do with horns, with steel. I met so many cool people on the road that I kept wanting to put them on the album. I'd be like, that's a phenomenal harmonica player, Cameron Speed. And, I'll find something for you on the album, because I just wanted him on the album. He was so good.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so this last thing we did was a little bit more upbeat, had some darker sides. But the next thing I'm working on, I really want to get back to some dark roots. And I'm pretty excited about the way the songs are going for the next album.
Do you like being in that country Americana genre with your stuff, or do you have dreams of taking it to like I said, almost like a Pink Floyd thing, where you've got big sounds.
I like big sounds. I don't know. I know what I would like to do. I just don't know what opportunities come up. You know, I know what I'd like to do. I like doing big things. Like at the new album, we have again the song "Wake the Dead," and when we were doing it, we had a band version of it. Mm-hmm. And right when we went to the studio, I said, "Yeah, we're going to change all of it."
Everybody in the band's like,
"What do you want us to do?" "Oh, I don't even need you."
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming for the song, but we don't need you for the song. So
they're like, "Can we, do hand claps?"
Oh, they even get hand claps in this album. So
your bass player sitting off camera laughing his ass off.
He knows. I told him I'm just going to use you for the last measure.
Yeah.
So they wait for this. I mean, it's at the end. It's real big, and I even hired horns and did all of this just for this huge outro because I wanted the album to end pretty big. And the song, I wanted it to be nice and simplistic. We had Heather Stalling, who's Max Stalling's wife, a phenomenal fiddle player. Again, that's another artist.
Max Stalling, great Texas artist.
Oh, great songwriter. Such a great dude. He's just a great guy. Him and Heather. And we met them on the road, and she did some fiddle while I was playing, and I was like, that's all I hear now. I want her on the album so bad. She's so good. And we ended up getting her on the album as well. So there was a lot of moments that I got to create, but it was just, we had 10 songs. Yeah. I wanted to get them down, and I wanted a bigger album than the previous one, than the acoustic album. Yeah. So the next thing, I've got a lot of ideas that I'm anxious to get to.
You want to do a song for us now? We'll talk some more.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, a guitar.
Look at this. So I was saying about all that dark stuff. Yeah. The tune I've got is a little bit brighter. I think that was the hardest part when I met my wife. I started writing happy tunes for some reason. Yeah. She's ruining my career. So we went to I did a show somewhere, I think it was in Abilene, and they had this triple moon, it was like a blood moon and a full moon and something else. And I woke her up at 4 a.m. I said, "Hey, you want to check out this moon?" Nah. Yeah. She got pretty upset at me. So I ended up watching the moon and writing this song for her. But it's called Easy on My Mind. Moon is on fire, slowly falling from the sky. She's wrapped up in a blanket, slowly covering her eyes. Peering through that hotel window at this moment in our lives, only for this day and easy on my mind. Till today, I can feel the change like a warm Texoma wind, rumbling through the northern plains. Under the candle label things, watch it sparkle fade and blaze again, shining a light that is within. I'm grateful for this day, and now she's easy on my mind. Oh, shadows from my place always seem to plague my sleep. I can run away, I can never leave. I hope to hell she never sees that man and all the pain he brings. I'm grateful for this day, and she's easy on my mind. Day after day, I can feel the change like a warm Texoma wind, rumbling through the northern plains. Under the candle label things, watch the sparkle fade and blaze again, shining a light that is within. I'm grateful for this day, and easy on my mind. Easy on my mind. Yeah. Day to day, I feel the change like a warm takes on the wind, rumbling through the northern lanes. Under the candle air both ends, watch the smile go fade and blaze again, shine a light that is within. I'm grateful for this day and her. She's easy on my mind. I'm grateful for this life and her. She's easy on my mind. Easy on my mind. Easy on my mind. Easy on my mind.
Nice.
Thank you.
God. I love your voice. It's so distinctive.
Especially at this early in the morning.
Hey, at least I'm not WSM telling you have to be here at 6:30.
My show in Wichita Falls is called the Way Too Early Show.
Yeah.
So when I'd ask my musician friends, I mean, come on, the studio sometimes. Wow, man, that's way too early.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that show, man.
That's a great song, and you're right, a happy song. You should write a third verse, though, where everybody kills them.
Dies.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know why I would do that, though. I'd be like, all right, this is a good idea, but how do they die?
Yeah.
A lot of my tunes, as a matter of fact, the next single that I'm going to release, the next video that we're working on, is Wake the Dead.
Oh, cool.
So, I'll do that one here in a minute.
It's funny, there's a part, I'm sure you know it, and I'm pretty sure it's a Parker McCallum song.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the title, but it sounds like a love song all the way through it. But the video, he's spreading her ashes, and he takes her ashes and just throws them off the edge of a cliff.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, I love that, because his wife is a videographer and cinematographer.
Oh, okay.
So she shot the whole thing. It's beautifully shot, and
That's good.
wow, what a cool.
Yeah, I've never seen that one. There's an Eric Willis one that's really good if you ever get a chance, and I believe it's called, I can't remember what it's called, like I Won't Let You Leave. Yeah. And it's him just singing to this girl, and she's on the couch and she's crying and screaming at him, and looks like they've been fighting. And then at the end of the video, you realize she's chained up. And
I love that stuff.
Oh, it's so dark at the end. And he's just sitting there singing to her, but she's crying, and you think they're fighting, and that he doesn't care. He's just very stoic, and he's not moving much. He's just singing to her, and at the very end, she tries to get up and run after him, and she just yanks back. It's funny.
Your lyrics are really visual, and that's one thing that always gets me about a song, and I've had conversations with people here several times where it's, what's the first song that kind of made you understand as a songwriter that you could paint those pictures?
Yeah. There's been series of songs. I remember, maybe I'm thinking about him because I just saw him last night, but Elvis Costello, watching the detectives,
great song, yeah.
filing her nails,
yeah.
And you could just see it. You can see this woman. I don't know why she's got the Jackie Onassis glasses. She's filing her nails. She looks like she's all done up. But those lyrics like that, that paint a picture. I always love those tunes because you can see it more than you can.
And Elvis Costello teaming with Burt Bacharach. Because Bacharach's lyrics were always like that. Even the simplest ones, you can see it.
Yes. Yeah, I love those. And he talked a little bit about that last night on the award show. You get real polished with someone like a Burt. But I think I have a hard time writing with the musicians because I just go over my lyrics over and over and over, and then I'll look at them. Sometimes I'll just throw them away.
Yeah.
So I take my time a little bit, maybe too much. I think I should probably hustle a little bit faster when it comes to lyrics, but it's because I want them. I have to sing them.
Yeah.
And when I started, I would just write lyrics because this one sounds good, this sounds good, and I just kind of have it because I wanted the song, and then I would have to sing it, and I would just be sitting there like I hate having to sing these dumb lyrics that came. I didn't even take my time, and I realized I owed it to anybody that would give me their attention to make sure that there were some good lyrics in there.
That to me is the most important thing, and again, going back to the Americana theme, that's where lyrics still matter. And I don't think, from my viewpoint as a writer, not a songwriter, but a writer, each word is a living thing, and how they go together is so important. Yeah. And why would you want to rush that?
Exactly. Also, I just kind of touched on it, but if somebody's willing to give you a little bit of their time, you only get so much. I make more money. I don't make more time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if someone wants to give it to you, you want to make sure that they're in the lyrics go in that it means something. Also, that means something to me, and I've been really focused on that lately. But again, it's crippling a little bit. It's sometimes it's to a point where I'll look it over and over and over again, and then I'll go, nah, I don't know why, but I just don't care for it, or I'm not going to want to sing that forever.
But, I mean, looking at it from my standpoint, I get a ton of music sent to me. And when your CD came, I thought, this is an important writer. This is a guy writing stuff that is intelligent, it's thoughtful, and he's not going to make a lot of money doing it, but it's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And I rarely get that. I get a lot of stuff that's excellent,
Thank you.
But there are the rare times when something jumps out at you and you think, wow, that's a song.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a little, well, thank you very much. Because you don't get to experience a lot of musicians. You write the album. You have a mentality of what you think those words are going. You think to yourself, this is where my career is going. And then you go see some talent like you did last night, and you're like, no, I'm not. Yeah. It's definitely not good enough. But it does inspire. I mean, now that I'm here, I just want to write like crazy now. So, should.
I mean, Lullaby is, when I heard it, and I feel this way with your music in general, that you construct it and then you deconstruct it in almost the way the Beatles would put stuff together. You take parts that you took out during the deconstruction and put them in a different place.
Yeah.
To make it work as a song.
Yeah, I think they're a big influence on my writing as well. Beatles, especially Paul McCartney, and I'm such a Paul McCartney fan that I love watching. From his early writings, which are just 16 years old, he's writing great stuff, and to his later writings, and seeing how he breaks down music. And I do a lot of that where of course it's supposed to go here, but what would happen if we just, I don't know, brought in an entirely different moment, and then came back to the chorus way later. Now, trying to do radio, because the whole time I know radio, and I know this isn't a radio song. Yeah. I think that was the biggest surprise when radio wanted to play some of the stuff I was doing, because I knew this isn't how radio music works. This isn't how music on the radio works. But yeah, listen to bands like the Beatles, again Pink Floyd. They break down their music. And I'll do that. I'll even rewrite some lyrics so that it can fit musically in a certain way. A lot of ammo like that. So I've been enjoying it. I really need to get to some writing around here. Yeah. That is a thing. Like back in Texas, I always say, like, I want to write with you, but I really don't know how to help a writer when he's writing about love songs, because I really don't know how to write love songs that well. I'm not that good. I mean, even though I just played a love song. That was more
That's the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah. I do like writing about. I don't know why. I guess I struggle with my own mortality because I'll write another song, then it'll end up talking about death for some reason. So
that's funny. You want to do another song?
Yeah.
Cool. You're watching the Nashville Access Show with Camo, and my special guest is James Cook. Well, you've got the fancy schmancy capo.
You know what? I got it yesterday at the award show. I walked in and saw this guy selling capos, and I was like, buy a capo.
That also almost looks like steampunk kind of capo.
the rose. What is that? I don't know what that kind of metal is called. But so I started teaming up with an illustrator in order to get my videos.
Yeah.
Because I don't like being in front of a camera whenever we're doing videos, and I didn't want to hire actors.
Yeah.
So, but this one will have a video right in October. It's called "Wake the Dead." Let the words flow from his wasted mind. She wrote a letter that changed his life. All graceful in the air, you can hear crickets in the night. Paid no attention to those chills in his spine. Always careful with his footsteps on his way to the bed. He knows better than wake the dead. All doors keep shut and something coming from the holy sheets. He's closer to the edge than he cares to be. And he knows she's a believer in Jesus and his plan. He'll do right with what's left of the sheets. And he knows everyone says she's gone. He knows there's no such thing as ghosts, no such thing as ghosts. No such thing as ghosts. No such thing as ghosts. No such thing as he's carrying crosses, he's whispering prayers. He's leaving from home to the night's cold air. All the bells on his ear, the center of the living room floor. Ready for thunder, she's coming with a roar. Oh Lord, he knows she's a believer in Jesus and his plan. He'll do right with what's left of her sins. And he knows everyone says she's gone. He knows there's no such thing as ghosts, 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 no such thing as
I love it.
Thank you.
I really love it.
Thank you very much.
James Cook, ladies and gentlemen. Now it comes this very special time in the show where we reach into Nana's ugly cookie jar. And it's called Nana's ugly cookie jar because Nana actually used to be in it, but we didn't want the ashes around the house. So. Because how do you make this thing look good? Man. These are questions. It's asked and answered. These are questions our viewers have sent in.
Okay.
So just pick one in.
Okay.
Reach in and pick one out.
This is great. I love this. Let's see. This is the baby right here. This is. Should I?
Yeah.
You let me.
Okay. This is from Sue in Ottawa, Canada.
Hello, Sue.
What is your earliest recollection of music having a significant impact on the person you've become? Good question.
Yeah. I guess playing with my dad, guitar. You know, I knew I liked doing it when I was a kid. I played with my dad, and by that I mean he'd give me a tennis racket when I was a little kid, and he'd play, and I was jamming with Dad. We would play hours. We'd play forever. That was how I played with Dad. So I remember that's how I started. Then he showed me some blues riffs. Yeah. But I think that since I've been a kid, I've always kind of known I've wanted to play music. Even the years where I didn't really know how to play music, I was always doing something where it was music. I'd be singing or I'd be banging on something. Then I went to a friend's house, and he had a guitar, and I'd learned a couple chords when I was little because Dad was always showing me a couple chords, but it wasn't really solidified that I was going to play at that point. But in high school, I remember playing a few with some friends and showing them the stuff that Dad had showed me. So that was really cool. But yeah, I'd say rock and roll with my dad. That was when I knew I kind of wanted to do it. Wow. Yeah.
Asked and answered. If you have questions that you want to pose to our artist, just send us a message with your name and where you live and the question you want to ask, and we'll put it in Nana's ugly cookie jar. One final question before we let you go. You're doing a headlining tour. It's your first major headlining tour all across the U.S. Playing to a stadium. Who opens for you?
Oh. Who opens for me? I don't know. I know a lot of cool musicians back home. That would be cool for it. I don't know who opens for me. Sounds... I can't answer that without sounding pretentious for some reason to me.
My whole life is pretentious, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, there's a lot of I think it would probably be some artists that I knew and that kind of fit what I was doing. Only because if it's one thing that I've really liked to do with every step I've ever taken with music, it's to make sure that the people that I've played with, or we all rise this little community together. I know that people have done that for me in the past, and it's always been a great thing for that person and for myself. So it'd more than likely be somebody that I knew on the road that was releasing something.
So nothing specific.
I can't think of anyone specific to open for me without sounding pretentious.
Man, thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me today, talking some music. Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's great, and to do it other than in the coffee shop at Target, it's kind of nice.
That was cool, yeah.
So people can get you Facebook, all those places, website?
Yeah. JamesCookMakesMusic.com, and you can go online, James Cook, Google James Cook, Texas. There's other James Cooks out there, believe it or not. Yeah. I don't know why. There's other James Cooks. Why is there other James Cooks? It's my management back there. I'm just asking them.
What can people go out and get?
They can grab the Tall Tales of the Brown Buffalo, which was the album we released in November. That's 10 songs that were done in the fabulous Fort Worth studios in Fort Worth, Texas, with award winner Bart Rose, who's an incredible producer. He let me do so many crazy things on that album. I love it. Every time I think of something weird, because he does other songs for some really good names. I think he did one with Pat Green, and
Wow.
he does stuff with Daryl Dodd. So for him to just let me get weird, and he would know like if I said, all right, I just want horns, but only for a few measures. I got a guy. Every time I'd say, I got a guy, don't worry about that. I got it. Oh, cool. All right, so. Yeah, then you had that Tall Tales of Brown Buffalo or Lullaby for the Rapture, which was the first album.
Spectacular album, by the way. Just an incredible album. I can't rave enough about that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again for being here.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching the Nashville Access Show with Camo, and you can make sure you catch me on Chris Country all across the UK every Sunday at midday following the Bobby Bones Show, and on 88.9 Tamworth Radio in Tamworth, Australia with Jody Crosby and John Wolfe Thursday mornings at 9:30. I'll see you next time.